knowledge of deen, knowledge which the prophets were given by Allah, they acquired a great share. And in this ummah there have been many great people of great knowledge, many Imams, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, many others in the field of Hadith, Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, Imam Abu Dawud, Imam Tirmidhi, and so on. Many other Imams in different fields and ranks, many were Zahids and Abids, and many other people excelled in different walks, of Islamic sciences and practices. But it is the Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and there is no dispute amongst Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. People who saw Rasulullah SAW once with Iman, then remained steadfast upon that Iman and died with that Iman, no matter how much knowledge people acquire, no matter how much ibadat people do, no matter how other good things and qualities and characteristics they acquire, people will not be able to equal the status Allah will give such people who have seen Rasulullah SAW and who then lived with that Iman and then died with that Iman. And this is unanimously accepted Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is the rank Allah will give Sahaba. In one hadith reported by Imam Bukhari, it's narrated, لا تسبوا أصحابي فلو أن أحدكم أنفق مثل أحد ذهبا ما بلغ مد أحد ولا نصيفه. The Prophet said, don't swear at my companions. If any one of the people to come afterwards, if they were to spend a mountain of gold, and this is another way to acquire pleasure of Allah and a lofty rank in Jannah, by spending your wealth in the path of Allah. And this is like giving Allah a loan. مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يُقْرِضُ اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا. When you spend in the path of Allah, it's very pleasing to Allah. And as a result, Allah elevates the rank of people who spend in the path of Allah. But people, even if one could spend a mountain of gold, and nobody can do that. Nobody has a mountain of gold at their disposal. But even if somebody did, لو أن أحدكم أنفق مثل أحد ذهبا ما بلغ مد أحدهم ولا نصيفه. One handful of grain which Sahaba spent in the path of Allah, or even a half of a handful, the reward they will gain from Allah, that is even more than somebody in the later generations who spends a mountain of gold. This is the rank and the status they command in the eyes of Allah. Sahaba, just to see Rasulullah once. Anybody who saw Rasulullah once, doesn't matter which Imam. Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, Imam Bukhari, Ibn Taymiyyah, and all the other Imams put together, even very special and noble in their own ways. But the status Allah will give them in Jannah, in Akhirah, is far superior. In knowledge, other people might be more. In spending in the path of Allah, other people might excel. In praying, other people might excel. In doing other things, people might excel. Do more than what even Sahaba did. But in the eyes of Allah, the status of Sahaba and their rank is far superior. And just as amongst the people, there are people at different levels. Amongst the prophets, Allah says, وَلَقَدْ فَضَّلْنَا بَعْضَ النَّبِيِّينَ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Allah has honored some prophets over others. Even amongst Rasuls, تِلْكَ الرُّسُلُ فَضَّلْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Amongst the messengers of Allah, there are those at different levels. Amongst the Sahaba, there are those who are different levels. In one hadith, Rasulullah SAW has compared his companions to stars. Now the stars, they all don't shine in the same brightness. Different stars, they shine with different brightness. But every star is a shining star. You will never get any darkness from any star. Stars always shine. Some shine brighter than others, but every star is a shining star. Every Sahabi has been guided by Allah. There are different levels amongst the Sahaba, and it is in light of Quran, those people who saw Rasulullah SAW with Iman, and there were approximately 100,000 plus Sahaba. those who saw Rasulullah SAW at Hajjatul Wida, at least 100,000 plus. From them, those who became Muslims before Fath Makkah. Allah has declared in the Quran, لا يستوي منكم من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل أولئك أعظم درجة من الذين أنفقوا من بعد وقاتلوا. Those who accepted Islam before Fath Makkah, they are superior than those who became Muslims afterwards. وَكُلًّا وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الْحُسْنَى. Whether they accepted Islam before Fath Makkah or afterwards, they are all promised Husna. Husna means goodness. And those إِنَّ الَّذِينَ سَبَقَتْ لَهُم مِّنَّ الْحُسْنَى أُولَٰئِكَ عَنْهَا مُبْعَدُونَ. Allah previously is talking about Jahannam, and then Allah says, those who've been promised Husna, goodness from me, they will be kept far away from Jahannam. And all Sahaba are promised goodness. So Sahaba are guaranteed security, amnesty from Jahannam. So if they're not going to Jahannam, then they're all going to Jannah. So the ones who embrace Islam before Fath Makkah, they are superior to those who became Muslim afterwards. And there were approximately 10,000 of companions with Rasulullah SAW at the conquest and Fath Makkah. From them, those who were with Rasulullah at Hudaybiyah especially, and there were approximately 1,400 of them, Allah has made special mention of them. لَقَدْ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِذْ يُبَايِعُونَكَ تَحْتَ الشَّجَرِ. Allah is surely, definitely very pleased with those who gave you allegiance under the tree when the Prophet ﷺ took allegiance from them, because the Prophet had sent Uthman radiallahu anhu to Makkah to negotiate entry into Makkah. The Makkans held him back, and the rumor spread that Uthman radiallahu anhu was being martyred. And the Prophet ﷺ was very angry and upset at this rumor. And then he gathered the Sahaba and took an allegiance from them that we will not return until we avenge Uthman. And then all the Sahaba who were with Rasulullah, 1,400 plus, they gave their allegiance to Rasulullah, and Allah said, I am definitely happy with the people who gave you allegiance under the tree. From these 1,400, and there are those 313 who participated in the battle of Badr. And at one occasion, Rasulullah said to Umar, O Umar, لعل الله اطلع على أهل بدر فقال اعملوا ما شئتم قد غفرت لكم. Umar, Allah has looked onto the people of Ahl Badr, and said to them, you can do what you please, I have forgiven you. Not that they were ever going to abuse and betray Allah's trust and then do whatever. Allah knew their sincerity and goodness through and through. And even in the later years, the Khulfa Rashidin especially, they were very mindful of the people of Badr, because they knew Rasulullah has given such assurance. And from the people of Badr, the Ashara Mubashara, and the ones Rasulullah clearly in plain, explicit terms by name. He said, Abubakr fil Jannah, Umar fil Jannah, Uthman fil Jannah, Ali fil Jannah, Talha fil Jannah, Sa'ad fil Jannah, Abdurrahman fil Jannah, Abu Ubaidah fil Jannah. And so on, 10 of these Sahaba, and the Prophet specifically mentioned by name that they will be in Jannah. And from them the 4 Khulafa then excelled. And then from the 4 Khulafa, Abu Bakr is number 1. In one hadith, the Prophet ﷺ has reported to have said, if the iman of the whole ummah is weighed against the iman of Abu Bakr's iman will be heavier. Abu Bakr's iman will be heavy. Other people long to go to Jannat, but Abu Bakr, when he will come on the day of Qiyamah, Rasulullah said, Jannat will welcome him with all its gates open. The Prophet said, whosoever has done me any favors, I have repaid all their favors except Abu Bakr. Allah personally will repay his favors on the day of Qiyamah. Abu Bakr was Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Rasulullah himself, he said, anybody I presented Islam to hesitated. You know, when you want to do something, being a Muslim, in those days, it wasn't being Muslim like the way we become Muslim. A person who becomes a Muslim doesn't really matter if he prays or doesn't pray, does fast or doesn't fast, keeps a beard, doesn't keep a beard, follows the sunnah, no follows sunnah, comes to masjid whenever, however, if he likes it, when he likes. It wasn't like that. In the time of Rasulullah SAW, anybody who became a Muslim was a man of his word. If he became a Muslim, he knew what it meant. He was submitting himself to the will of Allah and His Rasul SAW. Whatever they would command, he will listen and obey. Sami'na wa ata'na. We will listen and we will obey. Not make excuses like us. Not make excuses like us. When somebody wants to do something, he thinks about it 10 times. You want to go and buy a car, spend 1,000 or 2,000 pounds. The person opens the doors, looks down, start, underneath, under the bonnet, behind, wherever, under the car, 10 times. Take somebody to have a look as well, inspect, brother, what do you think? Shall I buy it or not? 10 times you will think about it. But Abu Bakr was selling himself to Allah and His Rasul, and Abu Bakr didn't hesitate. Abu Bakr didn't hesitate. In fact, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu believed in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam long before Allah even gave Rasulullah revelation. There were two personalities who knew Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Muhammad bin Abdullah will become Rasulullah. And many years earlier, they knew he would become Rasulullah. They were just waiting for the moment Rasulullah would say, Allah has made me Rasul. And then they were just waiting for that opportunity. One was Hazrat Khadija and one was Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr knew Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will be Rasulullah long before even Hazrat Ali was born. Long before even Hazrat Ali was born, Abu Bakr knew Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would become Rasulullah. Fatima, Hazrat Khadija radiallahu anha, long before even she married Rasulullah. She married Rasulullah when she was 40 and Rasulullah was 25. So 15 years after they married, Allah blessed Rasulullah with nubuwwat and risalat and wahi. But Khadija knew the man I am marrying will become Rasulullah. So she was just waiting for Rasulullah to come home one day and say, Allah has blessed me with nubuwwat and risalat, and Allah has blessed me with nubuwwat and risalat, and she also acknowledged Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as being the Prophet of Allah. Abu Bakr, long before, once he traveled to Yemen, and when he got there, he met a monk. And the monk looked at him and said, if I'm not mistaken, you must be from Makkah. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, yeah. He said, if I'm not mistaken, you're from Quraysh. He said, yes. And if I'm not mistaken, you are from Banu Taym. In Quraysh, there were many different clans. Banu Hashim, Banu Umayyah, Banu Adi. Banu Adi was the clan of Hazrat Umar. Banu Umayyah was the clan of Hazrat Usman and others. Banu Hashim was the Prophet's family, as Ali was from Banu Hashim as well. Banu Taym was the clan of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And this monk, he looked at Abu Bakr and he knew he was from Banu Taym. He said, I am. And he said, if I'm not mistaken, there's a scar on your stomach. There's a mark. And if you don't mind, I would like a look. And he goes, why are you interested in me so much? On what mark I have? He goes, I find your description in our scriptures. He said, I know we are expecting a messenger of Allah to appear. He will be the seal of the prophets and you will be the first man to acknowledge him. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu knew Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would become a prophet. And he was just waiting for the moment. And when Rasulullah presented himself as Rasulullah, Abu Bakr immediately acknowledged. Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu was a child. He was living in the care of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And when the Prophet came home and Hazrat Ali saw Rasulullah praying, he asked Rasulullah, what is this that you're doing? The Prophet said, Allah has blessed me with a nubuwwat. And if you want to follow me and join me, yes. Hazrat Ali said, I want to consult my father. He was a young boy, maybe 10 years old. And the Prophet ﷺ said, take it easy. Just keep things to yourself. There is no need to talk to your father yet. And then the next day, Allah opened the heart of Hazrat Ali. And without them any further ado, he also joined Rasulullah ﷺ. But even as a boy, Hazrat Ali wanted to consult his father. But Abu Bakr didn't have to consult anybody. He didn't hesitate. Rasulullah himself said, anybody I presented Islam to hesitated except Abu Bakr. The moment Rasulullah presented him, so much so, when the Prophet ﷺ went to Mi'raj, and this was an incident most scholars are of the opinion took place in this month of Rajab, on the 27th of Rajab. Laylatul Qadr is generally acknowledged by many scholars to be on the 27th of Ramadan as well, or usually on the 27th of Ramadan. People usually work during the days, but Allah gives more blessings at night. We have Shab-e-Miraj, we have Shabrat, the midnight, the night of the mid-Shaban, then Laylatul Qadr, the night of power. So nights are a great opportunity to take blessings from Allah. In the month of Rajab, Rasulullah SAW was taken to Mi'raj, initially min al-Masjid al-Haram ila al-Masjid al-Aqsa, and then beyond. And when the next day Rasulullah returned and he said to the people, last night I went from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa and then beyond. And then Abu Jahl, when he heard this, he said, right, this man, before we thought he's crazy, but now he's really become crazy. And now it's a good opportunity for me to speak to Abu Bakr and distance him from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he came all happy, all eager to Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr, what do you think? Is it possible for a man, for any man, to go from Mecca to Jerusalem in one night and then come back? Abu Bakr said, of course not. Well, exactly. What do you mean? Your friend says he's been. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu didn't hesitate for a moment. He said, if he says he's been, then he's been. When Rasulullah heard this, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave him the title As-Siddiq. As-Siddiq. The one who testifies to the truth. Allah says, وَالَّذِي جَاءَ بِالصِّدْقِ وَصَدَّقَ بِهِ. He who came with the truth, وَصَدَّقَ بِهِ, who testified to the truth, أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُتَّقُونَ. They are the ones who are muttaqoon. Abu Bakr wasn't just a muttaqi. Abu Bakr has been referred to in the Quran as Atqa, the most highest ranked muttaqi. Atqa. Atqa, like we say Allahu Akbar. In Arabic, the word for big is Kabir. Kabir means big, but Akbar means the biggest. A muttaqi is someone with fear of Allah and taqwa, but atqa, the man with the most taqwa. Abu Bakr has been referred to as atqa in the Quran. And not just atqa, in one verse, Allah makes mention of the incident of Hijrah. The night Abu Bakr and Rasulullah SAW made Hijrah from Makkah to Medina, there was a siege laid around the house of Rasulullah. They made a plan to assassinate Rasulullah ﷺ. Not that anybody was ever going to get anywhere near Rasulullah, because Allah had promised, Wallahu ya'simuka minan nas, Allah will protect you from the people. And nobody was ever going to get anywhere near Rasulullah. In another verse, Allah says, Kataballahu la'aghlibanna ana wa rusuli. Allah has ordained that He will always remain dominant, and so will His messengers. Rasulullah is not just a messenger, Rasulullah is Sayyidul Rusul, the leader and the Imam and the pride of all the Rusuls. So nobody was ever going to overpower Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the night then they spent during migration in the cave of Thawr, Allah has mentioned the incident in the Quran when the mushrikeen then chased their tracks and the tracks led the people to the cave. And when they were looking around and they looked into the cave and they were puzzled that the tracks they lead to the cave, but as soon as the Prophet and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu had entered the cave, Allah sent a spider, and a spider spun fast time the web on the mouth of the cave. A dove came as well and built a nest quickly and laid eggs over there. So people were confused. The tracks lead into the cave, but there is a web. Nobody could have gone in without breaking a spider's web. And the spider's web is a very, very weak structure. Allah mentions in the Quran, أَوْهَنَ الْبُيُوتِ لَبَيْتُ الْعَنْكَبُوتِ. And the weakest of the houses is the house of a spider. Such a weak structure, if you clean a place and you lock it and you close all the doors, you go away for many months and then you come back, you will find spiders' webs everywhere. But there's no need to feel scared. It might look haunted, but you bring one movement, that's it. And just one touch and it's gone. So they were puzzled, how can anyone enter and the word still be intact? And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu in that state, he said he was afraid for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he comforted Abu Bakr. And Allah says, إِذْ يَقُولُ إِلَّا تَنْصُرُوهُ فَقَدْ نَصَرَهُ اللَّهُ إِذْ أَخْرَجَهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا ثَانِيَ اثْنَيْنِ, the second of the two. In other words, the two best people in this ummah are Rasulullah and Abu Bakr. Rasulullah is number one obviously, but Abu Bakr can only be number two, and if he's number two, then nobody else can go ahead of Abu Bakr. So this verse is clear in the fact, this verse of the Quran states and implies that the best person in this ummah after Rasulullah is Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And he is being referred to in the Quran as a companion. Is يَقُولُ لِصَاحِبِهِ, when Rasulullah said to his companion. So on the companionship of Abu Bakr, there is nas qat'i, there is clear, concise evidence and daleel and statement that Abu Bakr is a true, sincere companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Anybody who denies the companionship of Abu Bakr, ulama have stated this is enough for their kufr. Because Allah is saying Abu Bakr is a companion of Rasulullah. And Abu Bakr at that time, he wasn't worried for himself. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Abu Bakr, "Oh Abu Bakr, la tahzan." Abu Bakr, don't worry. In Arabic there are two words. One is khawf, one is huzn. One is fear, one is worry. In English as well. Ulama of language have explained, fear, khawf, is for oneself, and huzn is for others. You are afraid what might happen to you, but you worry for others. Sometimes you are afraid of the future, but worried about what's happened in the past. What's happened has happened. You might have suffered, but it haunts a person. You worry about what's happened. You might think, or people think it will affect someone in a way. So people worry about the past, but they are afraid of the future. Or you afraid for yourself and you worry for others. Rasulullah's speech here is testimony to the feelings of Abu Bakr. Rasulullah said, Abu Bakr, la tahzan. He didn't say la takhaf. Don't be afraid for yourself. In other words, don't worry about me. Even in that situation where there was a reward of 100 camels for Abu Bakr and Rasulullah, Abu Bakr knew people have been offered a reward of 100 camels for me and for Rasulullah. So Abu Bakr wasn't worried about his own life. Abu Bakr he wasn't rather afraid for his own life, rather worried for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So Allah has referred to Abu Bakr in the Quran as the man with the most taqwa, as the best man in this ummah, and a true muttaqi, and so much so. Once Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Ana wa Abu Bakr wa Umar khuliqna min turbatin wahida wa fiha nudfan." Because it's mentioned in a hadith, when a child is conceived, then an angel comes and he brings a small portion of the sand where the person is going to be buried and then mixes it into the fetus. So it is then this sand which then attracts or pulls a person eventually to its final place of burial. There were many, I don't speak Farsi, I just speak a few words. But there was one couplet many years ago, one brother from Afghanistan, he once said to me, "Do cheez aadmi ra kashanat bazor, yaki abudana, digar khakugor." And there are two things which pull a person. One is his food, yaki abudana, your food and water, which Allah has written in your qismat. A person is attracted and runs toward his rizq. And the second thing which pull a person or attract a person is the dust from his grave. It's already mixed into a person's being, and that is where a person is eventually destined to be buried. So when Abubakr and Omar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma were eventually buried next to Rasulullah SAW, it proves that when Allah made Rasulullah SAW from the same sand or clay, Allah made Abu Bakr, and then Allah made Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma. So they had the same nature, and they had the same personality. When Umar radiallahu ta'ala eventually passed away and was martyred, and his body was laid to be buried, and people were waiting to bury him, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala, he was standing with other people. When the Prophet had passed away, he was a young boy, 11, 12 years old. After Rasulullah, Hazrat Abu Bakr became Khalifa for 2 years, then Hazrat Umar for almost 11 years. So when the time Hazrat Umar was martyred, he was a young man, about 25 years of age. So Hazrat Umar's body was placed to be buried, and Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas was standing and watching and waiting for people to bury him. When somebody, he says, put their hand on my shoulder, and they said, Umar, I always knew you would be buried next to Rasulullah. The reason was, I had heard many times Rasulullah saying, Dhahabtu ana wa Abu Bakr wa Umar, I went somewhere with Abu Bakr and Umar. Ra'aytu ana wa Abu Bakr wa Umar, I saw and so did Abu Bakr and so did Umar. And iltafattu ana wa Abu Bakr wa Umar, I thought this and so did Abu Bakr and Umar. He said, I had heard this comparison from Rasulullah so much, I always knew you would be buried with Rasulullah and Abu Bakr. So even Sahaba knew that Abu Bakr and Umar, they were as though the Prophet ﷺ's right and left hand. Abu Bakr and Umar, he says in another hadith reported in Mishkat, Rasulullah ﷺ, this hadith is reported in Bukhari, or rather Muslim I think, and that Rasulullah said, فُضِّلْتُ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ بِسِتٍ, Allah has blessed me over all other prophets in 6 ways. أُعْطِيتُ جَوَامِعَ الْكَلِمِ وَنُصِرْتُ بِالرُّعْبِ, Allah has given me such comprehensive wordings and ru'b. You know what ru'b is? Awesome personality. When you look at someone, you just get taken back. And you look at someone and there's so much effect on you from their appearance, from their personality, ru'b. Rasulullah had such a ru'b, if anybody heard his name from a month's journey, he would be stricken with awe. And to hear Rasulullah's name, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from a month's journey, it would shake a person. And this was the ru'b of Rasulullah. And when the Sahaba would be sitting in the Masjid al-Nabi with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sahaba could not look into his eyes. He says in hadith, illa Abu Bakr wa Umar. It was only Abu Bakr and Umar, they would look at يَنْكَانَا يَنْظُرَانِ إِلَىٰ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ وَيَتَبَسَّمَانِ عَلَيْهِ وَيَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِمَا وَيَتَبَسَّمُ إِلَيْهِمَا. They would look at Rasulullah and smile, Rasulullah would look at them and smile, and other Sahaba would be sitting like this with their heads down because of the ru'b of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Abu Bakr and Umar especially, and Abu Bakr, Allahu Akbar, especially so. A famous incident once as Aisha radiallahu anha. And as Aisha was also very dear to Rasulullah. Once Amr ibn As radiallahu anhu, again a very prominent companion, and the man who conquered Egypt and was one of the senior politicians of the Quraysh. Once he asked Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, Ayyun nasi ahabbu ilayk, who do you love the most from all the people? The Prophet said, Aisha. And he said, what I meant was from the men. The Prophet said, Abuha, our father. And then he said, Thumma man, then who? The Prophet said, Umar. And then he asked one or two other times as well, then he stopped, because he said, I didn't want to be the last. So Aisha radiallahu anha had such a special relationship with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Once, just shortly before the Prophet left this world, and the Prophet had fallen ill, and his illness was in the initial stages. Later it led to his demise, and when the Prophet ﷺ initially fell ill towards the end of Safar, He came back from Hajjatul Wida in the last month, Hajjatul Wida, Muharram passed, most of Safar passed. Towards the end of Safar, he fell ill. In the beginning of his illness, he said to Aisha once, Aisha, would you not like if you were to die in my presence? Well, she said, Ya Rasul, why do I want to die in your presence? The Prophet said, well, if you are to die before me, then I will pray you janazah, lower you in your grave, and then pray for your forgiveness. Wouldn't that be nice? Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, Ya Rasulullah, I don't want that. If I die before you, then you just bring another wife to sleep in my bed. This is the love that Aisha had, the confidence she had with Rasulullah SAW. And once, because when Rasulullah was in Medina, people used to send Rasulullah presents and gifts. And even Sahaba knew that Rasulullah loved Aisha so much. He loved Aisha so much that because the Prophet had a number of wives, 9 wives in Medina al-Munawwarah, and the Prophet would spend one night with each wife, and Sahaba knew that the night Rasulullah would spend with his Aisha, he would be extra happy. So Sahaba used to wait for the Aisha's turn to give Rasulullah presents. So if the Prophet was happy because he was with Aisha, he would be more happy if he received something nice as well. So that would make the Prophet double happy. So the other wives, they complained to Rasulullah SAW, Ya Rasulullah, people wait for your turn to be in Aisha's house to give you presents. We are also your wives. And it'd be nice if people, send you wherever you were. And it'd be nice if you tell the people, but the matter is carried on the same way. Then the other wives of Rasulullah, they asked Fatima, Rasulullah never says no to you. And if you were to go and put in a word to Rasulullah that he should tell the people, people should send him presents every day, wherever he is, irrespective of which family, which wife he is going to spend the night with. So when Hazrat Fatima, she came to put forward this request, the Prophet said to Father Fatima, oh Fatima, don't say anything to me regarding Aisha. Are you not happy with the fact, do you not like the woman that your father loves? So when it comes to Aisha, don't say anything to me. Allahu Akbar. Once Aisha was sitting with the Prophet ﷺ, it was a clear night, and she said to the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, is there anyone whose good deeds are equivalent to the stars in the sky? And the Prophet ﷺ said, yes, there is one man. And she said, yes. In other words, who is it? The Prophet said, Umar. And Aisha was disappointed. She thought the Prophet would say her father. And the Prophet realized her disappointment and said, oh Aisha, you were expecting me to say your father's name. But there is one deed of Abu Bakr that even all the good deeds of Umar cannot surpass. It's just one deed. Hazrat Umar on numerous occasions came up to Abu Bakr and he said, Abu Bakr, I want to make a deal with you. I want to make a deal with you. What's that deal, Umar? Abu Bakr, you think about it's a really nice deal. And the deal is, I'm prepared to give you whatever I've ever done, and not just me, whatever anyone related to me has ever done. All my deeds, the deed of all my deeds and the deeds of all my family, I am prepared to offer you in exchange, not for all your deeds. No. You can keep everything else. Just give me one night and one day only from your life. Umar is Umar, but Abu Bakr is Abu Bakr. Umar is prepared to offer deeds of all his family and relatives for only one night of Abu Bakr. One night and one day. Abu Bakr said, what day, what night? The day Rasulullah left this world and the night you spent with Rasulullah in the cave. Abu Bakr didn't even pray too much in the cave. He didn't even, there was no jihad in the cave. And there was no teaching and learning in the cave. And no special prayers in the cave. Just him in the company of Rasulullah SAW. And that little that Abu Bakr did that night, that little appears to be little, but even in the eyes of Allah, it's not little. It's better than what Umar and all his family can do throughout their lives. To see the noble face of Rasulullah is such an honor. Whosoever has seen Rasulullah once with Iman, and generally Sahaba will look at Rasulullah from a distance. And like the Prophet said, La tamassan naru musliman ra'ani or ra'aman ra'ani. Any Muslim who's ever seen me, the fire of Jannah will not touch him. or touch someone who has seen someone who has seen me. But Abu Bakr, can you imagine, just put yourself in that picture, in the cave, where Abu Bakr and the Prophet are alone, and in that state, Abu Bakr would be relaxing with his legs spread out, and the Prophet ﷺ's noble face would be in the lap of Abu Bakr. On the masjid, later on in Masjid al-Nabi, people would have to look up, but as though Rasulullah, just imagine, Abu Bakr looking and then staring at the noble face of Rasulullah. Allah gave him an opportunity. Abu Bakr, take a look to your heart's field. Nobody ever will get this opportunity. Look at the face of Rasulullah 3 days, 3 nights, as much as possible. And that was the special share of Abu Bakr. Once Abu Bakr said to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, many people live for different things. They look forward to doing different things. They have ambitions. Abu Bakr said, Ya Rasulullah, I live for 3 things. One is staring at your noble face. This was Abu Bakr's desire and ambition. This is what he admired and longed and prayed for, any opportunity to look at the noble face of Rasulullah. And the other is to spend on you. And the third is, I am so proud that my daughter is your wife. And these are the things a matter of pride for me. Then Allah gave Abu Bakr the opportunity eventually that he is with Rasulullah from the cave into the grave. He's been with Rasulullah for at least 1400 years. 1400 years. He will remain with Rasulullah till the day of Qiyamah. And once Rasulullah was with Abu Bakr and Umar, Abu Bakr on the right, Umar on the left, he put his noble hands on their shoulders and he said, هَكَذَا نُبْعَثُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. This is how we will also rise on the day of Qiyamah. Abu Bakr on the right, Umar on the left. They will be with Rasulullah on the day of Qiyamah, be with him on the pond and then beyond for eternity. But unfortunately and sadly, many people, the Shias, they say when Rasulullah passed away, then Abu Bakr and Umar Usman and all the Sahaba, they became murtad. This is written in their books, it's written in Usul Kafi, which is what their equivalent of Sahih Bukhari. It's written in there, it's written in Hayatul Qulub, a book written by Mullah Baqi Majlisi. The original book is in Persian, it's been translated into Urdu as well. In there it makes clear claim that after Rasulullah passed away, with the exception of 4 people, Ammar ibn Yasir, Abu Dhar Ghifari, Salman Farsi and Miqdad bin Aswad. With the exception of these 4, all the Sahaba na'udhu billah became murtad. In the Quran there are verses. I just quoted one verse earlier that Abu Bakr is the second in this ummah. There is a verse in the Quran. There is a prophecy rather in the Quran, and in this one prophecy there are many prophecies built in. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 54, 55, 56, Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, all those who believe. And this verse is a verse from Surah Al-Ma'idah, which was amongst the latest surahs to be revealed, right near the end. I think I showed you once before the Quran, which is the South African print with 13 lines. In this Quran, like I said earlier, I explained this. Whenever a surah begins, there's 2 numbers, one on the right and one on the left. If you open the Quran on Surah Al-Fatih is missing in this one. Kids, when they read, obviously they read them. If you turn to Surah Alaq, you see number 96 on the right, number 1 on the left. 96 is order of appearance in the Quran. 1 because the first surah to be revealed. When we go towards the end, we go to Surah Qul A'udhu bi Rabbin Nas, we see number 114 surahs in the Quran, and this is the last surah, but it's number 21 in order of revelation. Iza Ja, 110 order of appearance in the Quran, 114 order of revelation, the last surah to be revealed. When we go to Surah Al-Ma'idah, which begins in the 6th Sipara, after a quarter, we find that Surah Al-Ma'idah, you will find it's number 5, order of appearance in the Quran, but number 112. How many surahs in the Quran altogether? 114. So if it's 112 order of revelation, then it was revealed right near the end. And the ayat Al-Yawma Akmaltu Lakum Deenakum is a part of this surah. It's a part of Surah Al-Ma'idah. In this surah there is a prophecy. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. And this prophecy was near the very end of Rasulullah's life. Allah commanded Rasulullah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Now tell them, oh you believers, Man yartadda minkum an deenihi. Because you know what they say, last in, you know when people are gathered in a place, if the bowl is full, then the last person to come in, when people start leaving, then last in, first out. So there were some people who had been with Rasulullah like Abubakr Omar Usman from the beginning, but the people who embraced Islam right at the end, many didn't even see Rasulullah. After the conquest, after Hajjatul Wida, when Rasulullah came back to Medina, many who embraced Islam after that, or slightly earlier but didn't see Rasulullah, their imams were not on the same level. And they had come into Islam but were not firmly grounded. So when Rasulullah passed away, many such people then became murtad. And Allah had prophesied in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, man yartadda minkum an deenihi. There will be people, they will leave their deen from amongst you. From amongst the believers, people who call themselves Muslim. It doesn't say, Ya ayyuhal ashab, or Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, man yartadda min al ashab min deenihi. That the Sahaba of Rasulullah will become murtad. This ayat says there will be people who will become murtad. And when they become murtad, fasawfa. Sawfa in Arabic means like soon. Soon, fasawfa. Ya'tillahu biqawmin. Allah will bring a nation. You understand the word qawm? Fasawfa, soon. Ya'tillahu biqawmin. Allah will bring a qawm. A qawm doesn't apply. There is no language in the world upon which a qawm means 3-4 people. Qawm means hundreds and thousands of people, many tribes, many families make up a tribe, many tribes make up a qawm. So Allah was saying, when people start becoming murtad, and very soon people will become murtad. It was a reference to the Prophet ﷺ leaving this world, that when Rasulullah ﷺ leaves this world, many people will become murtad. And when they become murtad, Allah will raise a qawm. Meaning Allah will raise tens, hundreds and thousands of people. فَسَوْفَ يَأْتِ اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ. And their quality will be يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ. They will love Allah, Allah will love them. يُحِبُّهُمْ, Allah will love them. وَيُحِبُّونَهُ, they will love Allah. And who loves Allah? Allah says in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Those who are true believers love Allah profusely. And who does Allah love? Allah does, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْكَافِرِينَ. One thing Allah does not love, the people, are those who are kafirs. Allah loves those, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَّقِينَ وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah loves those who are muhsin, those who have ihsan. Ihsan is the highest level of iman. أَن تَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. And the highest level, when a person worships Allah as though he sees Allah, Allah loves such people. So when Allah will love these people, so it shows these people will not be kafirs, rather they will be true muttaqeens. إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ مُحْسِنُونَ. They will be muttaqeens and they will be muhsineen. Allah will love them, they will love Allah. And what else? أَذِلَّةٍ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَعِزَّةٍ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. They will be humble in front of believers, very firm against kafirs. And يُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا يَخَافُونَ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ. They will make jihad in the path of Allah. People will criticize them, but they will not fear any criticism either. And then in verse 56 Allah says, Ulaika Hizbullah, ala inna Hizballahi humul muflihun. They are the party of Allah. Who are the party? Can the Kafirs ever be party of Allah? They are the party of Allah, and they will be dominant. Ulaika Hizbullah, ala inna Hizballahi humul ghalibun. So in this verse there's a prophecy. Number one, people will become murtad. When they become murtad, Allah will raise people Allah will raise a qawm, not individuals. Allah will raise a qawm, and the qawm will be such, they will love Allah, Allah will love them. And because Allah will love them, they cannot be kafirs, they will be true believers. And they will make jihad, and they will make jihad. When they make jihad, then they will be dominant, they will be victorious. Now, after this time, this was a prophecy which said very soon, فَسَوْفَ. People will become murtad, then soon Allah will raise a nation. When we look, and it said from minkum, مَنْ يَرْتَدَّ مِنْكُمْ. So it will take place in the time that these people are alive. In other words, many of the people who were around at the time this ayat was revealed, this must happen in their lifetime. So this was going to happen very soon. And it happened as soon as Rasulullah passed away, many people became murtad. They joined Musalma Kadhab, many people refused to pay zakat and so on. So many people went out of the fold of Islam. Later on, and then Abubakr radiallahu anhu, he dealt with these people, he sent armies in the path of Allah with Khalid ibn Walid and others. Musaylima Kadhab was dealt with, he was killed. And those who were refusing to pay zakat, Hazrat Abubakr radiallahu anhu waged jihad against them as well. Allah gave all these armies victory, and within a few weeks and months, Islam was restored to its original glory. Then in the time of Hazrat Omar radiallahu anhu, there was absolutely no irtidad. There was Islam spread far and wide. In the time of Hazrat Usman, it went even further. In the time of Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, similarly there was no irtidad. There were some battles. Shias considered the people who participated against these battles against Hazrat Ali as murtad na'uzubillah. This is why in the month of Rajab, one of the things which Shias celebrate is the death of Amir Muawiyah. He passed away in this month, hence they celebrate, many people from Pakistan, India might know, they celebrate an event which they call Kunde. And they cook food, they distribute amongst the people, they rejoice. Like many of you might be aware, last year in the summer, the Shias, they had functions and to mark and celebrate the death of Aisha radiallahu anha. So the Shias for many hundreds of years have also been marking Rajab with celebration, because this is when Amir Muawiyah radiallahu anhu passed away. And they curse Amir Muawiyah radiallahu anhu because there was a battle between Hazrat Ali and Amir Muawiyah at Siffin, in which more than 80,000 people were killed. And so the Shias consider the people who fought against Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu as murtaddeen and kafirin, na'uzubillah. But in these battles, Hazrat Ali was not victorious. He did not defeat them. He had to make peace and truce with them. In this prophecy, which Allah says, when people become murtad, then Allah will raise a nation, Allah will love them, they will love Allah, they will be humble in front of believers, severe against the kafirs, they will make jihad in the path of Allah, and Allah will give them victory. And when we see throughout the age of Sahaba, the only incident, the only occasion when there was such irtidad was after the demise of Rasulullah. And Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he dealt with these situations very effectively and successfully, restoring Islam to its original glory. So if all the people were believers, then Abu Bakr being the Amir and the leader of all the believers, wasn't just a believer and a mu'min, he was rightfully Amirul Mu'mineen. And so if Allah was happy with all the people, Allah was most happy with Abu Bakr, because Abu Bakr was leading all this campaign. And And Allah has said, يُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا يَخَافُونَ لَوْمَةَ اللَّائِمِ. People try to intervene and put Abu Bakr off. Abu Bakr, no, please take it easy. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala, he said, how can I take it easy? Especially with regards to the army of Usama bin Zayd radiallahu ta'ala, which was the Prophet himself had dispatched. Many senior Sahaba said, Abu Bakr, take it easy with this jaysh and let it stay here because Medina is under threat. Abu Bakr said, how can I hold back an army which Rasulullah had dispatched? So even Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was criticized, but he did not pay any attention to this. So this ayat in itself, there are many other verses in the Quran which prove that Abu Bakr wasn't just a believer, he was the best believer. He was the most muttaqi, and he was the man who, and there are many verses which was revealed in favor and on the amal of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Allah was so happy with what he did. And as well as this, in 2-3 minutes, the Shias, they say, Rasulullah had promised Khilafat to Hazrat Ali. And because Abu Bakr initially oppressed Ali, did not give him his right, so Abu Bakr was an oppressor. And he did zulm upon Ali, and Ali radiallahu anhu was meant to be the Khalifa, but Abu Bakr initially, then Hazrat Umar, then Hazrat Usman deprived Ali and the family of Rasulullah of their right. There is another verse in the Quran in Surah An-Nur. Surah An-Nur is number 24. Chapter number 24 in Surah and verse number 55. Allah says, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. That Allah promises those amongst you who have iman and good deeds, that Allah will surely, definitely grant them succession. Khilafat, لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Allah will grant them khilafat of earthly matters. So this was a promise of Allah. And Allah, وَعَدَ اللَّهِ لَنْ يُخْلِفَ اللَّهُ وَعْدًا. When Allah makes a promise, Allah never ever breaks His promise. Allah doesn't break His promise. إِنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ. Oh you people, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ. Oh you people, understand that the promise of Allah is true and absolute. When Allah makes a promise, if Allah had made a promise with Rasulullah for Ali to be Khalifa afterwards, Allah would have ensured Ali would have got Khilafat. But because this is Allah's promise, Allah promised those with Iman and good deeds. So it shows those who got Khilafat, those who attained Khilafat, those who received Khilafat, were not murtaddeen, na'uzubillah, but rather they were people of true Iman, and not just Iman, وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, because Allah's promise of Khilafat was with those who have Iman and good deeds. And the Khilafat wasn't just a spiritual matter. Like the Shias, they say, it's a spiritual status. No, in this verse, in Surah An-Nur, verse 55, Allah is promising, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Allah will give such people khilafat of earthly matters control. Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala also received the khilafat at the time that he deserved. Abu Bakr received it initially, then Hazrat Umar, then Hazrat Usman, and then Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And Allah had promised, وَلَا يُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ دِينَهُمُ الَّذِي ارْتَضَىٰ لَهُمْ. Allah will establish the deen which Allah has chosen for them. وَلَا يُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ. Allah will establish for them, make firm دِينَهُمُ الَّذِي ارْتَضَىٰ لَهُمْ, that their deen which He has chosen for them, with which He is happy. Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, throughout the Khilafat of Abu Bakr and Hazrat Umar and Hazrat Usman, almost 23 years, if he was the rightful Khalifa to become and receive Khilafat in the first instance, that means for 23 years, Hazrat Ali struggled and was unable to have his way. And then when even he did receive Khilafat, he could not truly and totally, completely have things his way. That's not showing weakness in Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu's part. We are Sunnah wal Jama'ah regard as Ali to be a rightly guided Khalifa as well. Upon his turn, what as Ali did, he also did something very supreme, very special. And that was when Muslims were fighting each other, as Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he initially gave preference and eventually agreed to a compromise to a solution. And his son Hassan radiallahu ta'ala anhu, then after Ali was martyred, eventually when the Muslims had become divided into two major factions, Hassan radiallahu ta'ala anhu gave preference to peace, and he relinquished his Khilafat or right to what the area that he controlled. So Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu and his family, his sons, Hazrat Hassan especially radiallahu ta'ala anhu, they established this precedent, and they showed the Ummah that your superiority isn't the main thing, but rather the unity and the peace and togetherness of the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and that is what is crucial, and that is what is important. So in these very difficult times, the standard and the practice which Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu set, it shows that Muslims should strive for peace and unity. But the Shias, they believe that Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was the most worthy of Khilafah, and anybody who opposed them, na'uzubillah min dhalik, they distort translations of hadith and they misrepresent. Because the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said to Ali once, "O Ali, nobody loves you except a true believer, and nobody hates you except a true munafiq." Hating someone is something else. Sahaba didn't hate Hazrat Ali. Situation became such, they ended up in battle, fighting each other. Muslim groups ended up fighting each other. Hazrat Ali was on one side, Hazrat Amir Muawiyah was later on one side. But that didn't mean that Hazrat Amir Muawiyah hated Ali. There was differences, there was a battle, but it wasn't based on hate. It was based on differences of ijtihad. Hazrat Amir Muawiyah thought that Hazrat Ali is unable to contain the situation, and the killers of Hazrat Usman were among the supporters of Hazrat Ali. He demanded justice for Hazrat Usman. Hazrat Ali was unable to control the situation at the time, and then it led to war. But then Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, initially then Hazrat Hassan, they gave preference to peace. So that Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was also regarded as Khalifa Rashid. But Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, his iman is proven from the Quran. And the Quran is a witness and speaks volumes of the iman of Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu and all the people who are with him. May Allah grant us their life. May Allah grant us true understanding of deen, and may Allah save us from all the fitans, and may Allah never ever create even a small amount of malice in our hearts. Names of the beloved Prophet نستغفرك ونتوب إليك اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى واجعل آخرتنا خيرا من الأولى صلى الله وسلم على سيدنا
اللهم آمين.
هذا اشرب المشاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله